3 feet. 2 feet. 1. Rah! Ah! Screamed James as he fell back to the damp forest floor. Ha ha ha, well, if it isn't the Sampson boys. Jesus Christ, it's just you, Peter, said Marcus as he threw the stick he had just picked up to the floor. Of course it's just me, said Peter. Who were you expecting, the big bad wolf? How you been, Marcus? I see you haven't been able to shake off your little crutch. No, not really, Pete, said Marcus. You know, my mum likes me to keep an eye on him and make sure he doesn't get into trouble. Ha, said Peter. If your mum knew what we get up to, she would change her tune real quick, eh? And how are you, wee little Jamesy? Realizing he was still on the ground, James quickly got to his feet. I was fine until you scared me half to death, James said irately. Oh, said Peter, it was just in good fun. Anyways, I hope there's no hurt feelings, or in your case, no hurt asses. We all had a bit of a laugh as Peter started heading north deeper into the forest. All right, blokes, said Peter, follow your great and brave leader, Lord Petricus, said Marcus. What kind of name is that? Well, said Peter, thinking for a moment, clearly it's a made-up one then, isn't it? And a bloody good one if I don't say so myself. So then what are your names? Asked Peter as they walked on. Said Marcus with a look of deep concentration on his face. I am Sir Marcosi Great Knight from the land of St. Crucia, good friend and protector of Lord Petricus. Wow, nicely done, Sir Marcosi, said Peter. And you, James? Well, said James, buying time for some quick thinking. I guess I will be, Sir Jamery Great Knight. We already have a great knight, said Peter. Why don't you pick something else? Right, said James, trying to think of some other grand hero worthy of such an important quest, even though he still had no idea what they were doing. Well, what else is there? Asked James. Well, lots of things, said Peter. You can be the Grand Grutis, peasant from Fairyweather. I heard no one can shovel heifer poop into a pile faster than good old Gruits. Or there's Oris, the ordinary great servant of Grand Lord Petricus, the best foot scrubber in the whole kingdom, if you ask me. Now that's something you can be proud of. Come off it, said James. I'm not going to be a peasant or a foot scrubber. I want to be something proper like you and Marcus. How about Merlin the Magnificent? Who the hell is Merlin the Magnificent? Asked Peter. You have never heard about Merlin, said James in disbelief. My grandfather told me he was a great and powerful wizard who could summon animals and cast fire from his bare hands. What the hell is a wizard? That sounds an awful lot like witchcraft to me, young Jameses, said Peter. You better not let anyone else hear you talking about such things, or you'll end up like Mad Miranda from Belshire. My mum told me they burnt her at the stake for bewitching her husband into thinking he was a goat. He went around saying, "Ma!" and head-butting any townsfolk who crossed his path.
What's got into you? I'm a fierce mountain goat, Martin.
Watch out!
Headbutt coming through. Whoa! You alright? Still got my horns.
Peter went on, now speaking in a soft whisper, as if he was worried someone standing close by would hear. Very dark stuff, that is. If you ask me, the devil's behind it. Calm down, Pete, said Marcus. It's just his little imagination getting the best of him, right, James? Stop making up such nonsense. Here, you can be Jamines, brother of Marcosi, and knight in training, all right, said Marcus in a finalizing tone. Right, James replied quickly. Okay there, said Marcus. Now let's move on. All right, said Peter, even though he was still staring at James with a stern and inquisitive look, as if he was still trying to decide whether he was mad or not. Finally, he turned and began leading them deeper into the forest. After a few minutes, they finally arrived at a large clearing. The dark dwarves have encroached upon our lands for far too long, yelled Lord Petricus in anger. My lord, the horde is forming ranks due east, said Marcosi. How many do they number, Marcosi? Asked Petricus. By my count, my lord, there are 50 of the god-forsaken wretches, said Marcosi with a look of disgust on his face. And how many men have we gathered to defend our homeland this day? Said Petricus. My lord, I was only able to collect 7 meagre souls from the village to fight alongside us, my lord. Everyone else has fled, said Jamines out of breath as if he had ran the whole way there. Look, they approach from the south. Jamines was pointing at a group of shabby-looking old men that just came into view emerging near the forest. They were dressed in common peasant clothing and clearly did not possess any kind of combat training. "Well, a lot of good they're going to do. They're all carrying pitchforks," said Marcosi in mild amusement. "Wait, except that one. He's got a great big shovel," said Marcosi, now pointing at a very large man walking in the back of the group. "Don't mock, Marcosi. What we have there is a strategic mind," said Petrikis sarcastically. "Clearly that big old bloke is going to dig a great big ditch with that great big shovel, and all the dwarves are simply going to fall in one by one. See, problem solved," said Petrikis, trying to inject some humor in another wise dire situation. "Right," he went on. "By my count, that just means we're outnumbered 5-1. That is, if you can count our feeble-looking reinforcements," said Petrikis with a quick glance back at the group of men who had started forming a rather disorganized-looking line behind them, all with a face of sheer terror. "So that just means you lot need to whack 4 or 5 of the little buggers, and we'll have this one in the bag." "That won't be a problem, my lord," said Marcosi with a grin on his face as he unsheathed a rather menacing-looking black sword. "Not at all," said Gemines also with a smile. "I'm just worried we won't leave any for you, my lord," he said as he readied a silver bow from behind his back. "Good," said Petrikis, now turning to face the men. "You have been brought to this battlefield today to fight," said Petrikis in a loud, booming voice. "Not because you enjoy it. Oh no, not because you're looking forward to punching a small, stubby, 3.5-foot-tall dwarf in their hairy face, no. But because you are tired. For far too long, these vile and revolting little creatures have tormented us. For far too long, these dark beings have destroyed our lands, burnt our farms, killed our sons and taken our women. We have been patient with them. Yes, when they first began their attacks, we gave ground. We sat back and watched from afar as village after village was set ablaze. We sat back and watched the black smoke rise above the horizon as the red dawn broke through the clouds, knowing that black smoke meant something evil was one step closer to those we love.
But not this day, my friends. That was then and there, and we are here and now. We are the wall that will repel this menace. We are the wall that will shelter our families, our
farms, our villages, and yes, even our cows from these demonic villains. This day is the day where we send these foul creatures back to the hole they spawned from. Are you with me, men?
I guess,
said the man with the giant shovel, raising it high above his head and breaking the awkward silence. However, the rest of the men had a look as if at any moment they were going to become sick. Silence fell upon them once more, and nothing could be heard but the nervous swallowing of one old man. "That was a great speech, my lord," said Marcosi encouragingly. "For a moment I thought they were all going to storm the field of battle." "Well, if they're not ready for a fight, we are," said Gemines, locking 4 arrows into his bow and turning it horizontally and aiming it towards the horde of dwarves, who were now chanting and yelling 200 yards in front of them. "On your word, my lord." "Attack!"